Most consultants don't get business as they let the homeowner take charge of the agenda. When Chip got up here, he said, here's the agenda, here's what we're doing. He didn't say, hey guys, what do you want to do tonight? Or what do you want to do today? Because if he did that, it'd be anarchy. So taking charge of the agenda, we'll show you how to do that. We're going to talk about how to ask for the business, respond to obstacles, and then how to negotiate a winning transaction. So obviously a big agenda for a 90-minute talk. But what I want to be able to create in you is the understanding that it's possible. Now some of you, as we share these ideas, are going to be thinking, well, that's not me. And I talked to a number of franchisees before I got here. So I spent a day in the field. I went on some in-home measurements and estimates. I've been at the site of installation. I'm a customer of Premier Garage. My garage is all set up with the products. So I kind of get it, but I want you to understand that it's okay to help people make a good decision, and my goal is to help you to do that and just kind of pique your interest. So try to keep your mind open. We all have the phrase, the mind is like a parachute. You've all heard that, right? It only works when it's open. So try to be open-minded today. Try not to go, oh, no, wouldn't do that. Try to be open-minded to some things. My goal is to help you to provide some value, and that's it. And I don't need you to change everything you do. In fact, most of what you're doing is working. You just change little bits. Imagine if we could get 1% better each week. At the end of the year, how much better is our business? Theoretically, 52% better. So what if you could do 52% better next year in your revenue, in your profitability? What if that could happen? And it's not huge sweeping changes, it's little bitty changes. My son, when he's 20 now, but when he was about 11, we were up in the backyard in Arizona, and there's this big thunder cloud coming in, and he goes, Dad, you see that thunder cloud up there? He said, I learned in school the clouds were made up of 97% water. Well, I'm a pilot, I should know that. I go, oh, that's kind of interesting, son, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. We're sitting down later to some nice cold watermelon on a summer afternoon. And he says to me, Dad, this watermelon here, it's made up of 94% water. I thought, wow, that's interesting too. And all of a sudden hit me that a watermelon missed out on being a cloud by only 3%. It could have been cloud, right? 3%. So it takes just a little bit to help it. So I think we get the idea of the cost eventually. As you are following up and taking that time, there's a cost to your business. Part of that cost comes in the fact you can't get to other leads. And I realize a lot of franchisees are just kind of small operators. You wear a lot of hats. You're taking in the lead, you're going out, you're doing the estimates, you're doing the measurements, you're asking for and closing for the business, then you're the one that's actually coming and doing the install work. So there's a lot going on. So while you're trying to do follow-up, you're not doing some of the other things you need to be doing with your business. If you have salespeople in your business, while they're chasing down and following up, making phone calls and revisits, they're not doing the other things. And eventually what happens is you can't get to your leads fast enough. And I think we all know that we want to be able to respond as quickly as possible, hopefully within 48 hours of when they make the inquiry. And the inquiries don't come in level. It'd be nice if they did, if every day you got 5, just every day. But they come in peaks and valleys, don't they? All of a sudden you get 22, whoa! And then there's like nothing for a few days. So what we want to do is we want to create this understanding. And I want to help you to get it because it makes a difference. So this importance of selling on the day. I want you to think about it in a minute in the customer's mind. It's not about us. I can give you all kinds of reasons why it's good for us, but let's talk about them. Unfortunately, the customer is overwhelmed with information. We have this internet out there, and there's a really interesting change happening in sales today. Because salespeople used to be the purveyor of information. They were the person you called to come out and educate you. Whether it was a doctor learning about pharmaceuticals, whether it was a homeowner learning about the latest technology for kitchens or appliances, whatever it is. Salespeople used to be that purveyor. And at the advent of the internet, and as it proliferates, most people don't like salespeople. If I were a psychiatrist and I said to you, hey, what's the first word that comes to mind when I say the word salesperson? What is it? Used cars, pushy, it's always a negative thing. So they don't like salespeople, so they're inviting salespeople to the party later. Most people now have done a tremendous amount of research before they ever call you. And so when they call you and say, hey, can you come out and measure our closet? Can you come out and take a look at our garage? They've done a ton of work, and they probably know a lot. Now the problem is, as much as the internet provides information, what does it also provide? Misinformation. I love the State Farm commercials, where the guy's doing the app on his car and the young girl comes up and she quotes some statistic. He goes, wow, that's interesting, where'd you learn that? She goes, well, it's on the internet. It must be true. And then she says, oh, my boyfriend I met on the internet. He's a fancy French model, right? And then Dorothy guy comes up, right? But that's what happens. People get misinformation as much as they do information. So what we have to understand is when they call us, they have expressed a need. Our job is to go into the home and do additional work to not only get what they've called the explicit need, which is what they told us, but we want to dig out and find out what the implied needs are. What are they really trying to solve organizationally? When they contact us, they put themselves out on the market. It's likely they've called other companies too. I think a lot of people are looking for 3 quotes, and so they want to get the best price. The challenge is there's too much information, and left to the consumer's own devices, what will they fall down to as the lowest common denominator? Price. And what they tend to do is commoditize our product. And once they commoditize the product, you've got really no hope of providing a good quality value product in there. And of course, that's where people get really, really messed up. So as a sales professional, I believe, and this is my belief when I go into the home, is that it's my obligation, because I'm an expert. I do this every day. These folks are going to do this once or twice in their lifetime. I had my garage done in 2009 by Premier Garage, and it hasn't had to be modified since. I've got a couple new brackets, organizational stuff, but basically it's solid, it's there. I'm probably not ever going to do it again, unless I move. So what happens is I make that decision one time in my life, but your consultant, makes it, one time, twice a day, 3 times a day. So who's better qualified to opine on the best solution? And if you take that attitude, we're doing them a favor. If I let that homeowner go into the marketplace and buy on the lowest price, I've actually done them a disservice. And one of the toughest things about home improvement, whether it's organizational systems, whether it's interior window covering, external window covering, artificial turf, replacement windows, whatever it is, on the day of installation, it all looks pretty good, doesn't it? Because it's much better than whatever was there before. So on the day of installation, hey, you're feeling pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. But the real test is what? Time. 2, 3 years down the track, are they still happy? So we have to believe that it's in their best interest. And I think if you can get your head around that I'm doing this because it's in their best interest, not mine, it's a lot easier to come from this perspective of asking for the business more quickly. I've learned this in sales that most people, behaviorally, I don't know if you've been through any of the behavioral modification or like the DISC models, Myers-Briggs, some of those behavior devices. People tend to like to sell in the manner in which they like to buy. So if you're a person in your own life that likes to get 3 quotes, never jump at the first offer, take your time, slow down, it's harder for you to ask somebody else to make that decision. Because the minute they say, oh, this is great, yeah, this sounds good, yeah, price is okay, we just need to think about it. We never buy on the first day. Okay, because in your head you're going, yeah, I want to think about it too. And then you let them go. And then sometimes you never hear from them again. Because then they forgot all the good things you said and then they bought from the cheaper provider. Some of us, like me, we don't buy, we buy emotionally. Like when I buy a car, I don't go through and spend, the last car I bought, I was driving down the freeway, and there was these balloons up, I pulled in, and they had free hot dogs. And so I'm talking to the sales guy, really cool, and I was like, this is a great guy. And and all of a sudden I had a new car. It's just like, I didn't put up with it. And that's the way some people buy. Now, here's what I learned, is not everybody buys like me. And if I try to sell to someone the way I buy, I'm going to be not very successful. So if I find someone who's more analytical and needs more time, I've got to change the way I present. But my obligation is still the same if I want to truly help them. So one of the things that we could all agree on, I'm pretty sure, is that if there was one thing you could do that would change your ability to get business done more quickly, the one thing we probably all agree to is that getting both parties there. Would you agree? Huge. So if we could set this point up with all decision makers present, it makes a huge difference in our ability to close business. Now I've heard many intakes of leads, and what I've found is that most people don't ask. Some do, many don't, because they don't want to create pressure.